Let's pray for the people that we just lost.
But Dave Chappelle was decapitated in front of us. And until we deal with that, until we deal with the fact that a devout Muslim who doesn't eat bacon was accused of being a crackhead, until we establish the fact that they said that he went to Africa to smoke cocaine when we know they don't have running water and food over there, when they don't have paved roads over there. You saying he flew past Chicago and Miami and LA and New York and Detroit. You saying he went past Cleveland and Fort Pierce, Florida, and he went past Okeechobee and Oakland. You saying he went to another country where they're not eating? Right. You talking about somebody who has a wife and children, 5 children, and lives on a farm, doesn't live here in Hollywood. You saying you convince people that person was an insane crackhead? And he hasn't been on movies and TV for 8 years? Is that correct? Okay, then don't tell me about what you want to tell me about. I just watched you decapitate the king in front of me. And then act like he's supposed to catch up and be a regular comedian like everybody else. But no, he didn't go for that. That's not how it went. He was out there with us for 20 years. They called him Pilot Boy because he had 19 pilots in Hollywood and everybody passed on him and said his show.
What do you think?
Then when he made $500 million, they said even though his contract said he should get half of it, they said he made too much for the contract to be valid, so we'll offer you 10% of what you made. You mean he made $500 million and they offered him 50? Yes. And he said, what do you think my fans are gonna say when they find out you offered me 10% of what I made you? And they said, your fans will believe that you're a crazy crackhead by the time you get home. And my nigga got on a flight in LA, and by the time he got to Ohio, it was so. And 8 years later, he hasn't been in a movie and or television. Is just now trying to do his real comeback at Radio City Music Hall. It bees like that sometimes. So now you can be the fake king or you can be the real king, but heavy is the head.
I would like to talk about someone who was very dear to me. And some of you know who he is. Some of you have laughed at his comedy. Some of you have gone to his shows and have fallen out of your seats or your chairs or what have you because of the comedy that he gave you. And that person is my cousin, David Chappelle. David Chappelle and I were first cousins. Okay, David and I, we were very, very close. There were times when David and I would talk. I had his cell phone number and he had mine, and we would talk for hours on end. There was nothing that David would not or could not tell me, and vice versa with me to him. We just felt comfortable around each other. David was my yin and I was his yang, or vice versa as you want to put it, but they told David, we'll give you $50 million. $50 million if you could come and join our team and be a part of us and this and that, and they told him some other things which I'm not going to discuss, but you can rest assured the things that they said to David to tell him what he could do and what he couldn't do and this and that, and then the torture that they have and the pressure that they put pressure on this man, on David at that time of the meeting. Okay, and David said, no, well, if I accept $50 million from you, what would my fans think? And they said to David this, well, your fans already think that you are a crack addict from the characters that you portray. You know, they already think that, that you're a pothead, that you're a drug head. So, it doesn't matter what your fans think, it's what you are willing to accept. And then they went on to put the pressure on him that they told David that they wanted him to see something. Just like they did Bernie Mac. Oh, yes, indeed. They took Bernie, let me stop on David for a few minutes. But they showed Bernie Mac the cloning lab. And they showed Bernie Mac the cloning lab. And he went down and he saw how people were being cloned. And when Bernie Mac came back and told Steve Harvey and D.L. Hughley and a few others, and that he saw the cloning lab, and that something had to be done to stop that foolishness of what they were doing. Well, Steve Harvey and D.L. Hughley went back and told the top brass of the Illuminati, the dark circle, inner dark circle, and what they did, they killed him. Okay, so now let's go back to David Chappelle. I think that before they took David down there, they promised David that they would go along with his deal, with David's deal, to get him to sign the contract. And I'm believing that David, thinking that he would get back on the Chappelle show, working with Comedy Central, that everything was going to be all right. And I'm believing that David signed that contract thinking that. And when he signed that contract, they wanted David to go and look at something else. It could have been maybe telling him that maybe it was a new studio or something or sometime or what have you. But they got David after signing the contract, and then once he signed the contract, they took him someplace else, and the place that they took him to was to the underground lab. And when they got him down there, they cloned David. And when they clone a person, and I want you to do your research, cloning today only takes a couple, maybe to several hours to be cloned. Well, this is what I strongly believe they did to David. They took him to this underground lab, and what they did is just smiling in his face and just going along with David, so that David would not yield up or fight or this sort of thing. And they cloned him. And once they cloned David Chappelle, then they killed David Chappelle. Okay, and once they killed David Chappelle, that was it. And once they did this, then they had full control of this new Dave Chappelle. They had to clone him, and then once they clone him, this is what I'm thinking too, that when they cloned him, then they got the clone to sign David's name for not only 50 million, but for 60 million as well. Well, let me say this. I had not heard from David when he was supposed to have met with the executive the second time, and they promised me and assured me he would call me and let me know the outcome. I have not heard from David since. When I turned my...
Is that correct? Okay, then don't tell me about what you want to tell me about. I just watched you decapitate the king in front of me. And then act like he's supposed to catch up and be a regular comedian. Everybody